Lou, just woke up. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of felt like just rattling off some stuff. I kind of was just thinking about this list I made. Like I was curious to see what I felt like about like where I would rank certain Metallica songs. And I wasn't going to go through the whole catalog, and even the list I made was pretty long. It was originally like 22 songs, and it was pretty interesting. The kind of ranking I did for them. If I could find the list, there it is. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I'll rattle off all 22. Hell, fuck it, I'm going to. Yeah, I did in place 22. I put "And Justice for All." It of all the Metallica songs is it's you've had some Metallica songs that are long but not too long. You've had some songs that are like that definitely go on for too long and just like like you could cut a good chunk of it out. This I think is the ultimate out of all of their songs of pushing it to the absolute edge, right on that line of being too long but never quite crossing it. It perfectly hits it perfectly, like ends right before it gets to that point. And, they definitely like almost overdid it for that song, but it weirdly worked out really well. I really loved the song. I like a lot of elements of the song. I just think that's a big part of it that I noticed out of all the songs that I listened to. I'm like, god damn, like it is so close to being too long, but it's not like some other songs they've made that are 100% way too long. The next song, place 21, would be Orion. Just like, I mean, people would give me shit for maybe putting it this low on this list. This list is not like what are the best Metallica songs. It's just what my personal favorites are, the ones that get me in like a rockin' mood or get me in the feels a lot of times, or maybe have some sentimental value to them. But yeah, no, that's that. The one complaint I actually have about the song, and it's not the biggest complaint, but I think the main riff, the bam, ba bam, banana, bam, ba bam, that riff, I think is a little. It's okay, but the rest of the song more than makes up for it, and it doesn't overstay its welcome that long. So it's one minor little complaint I have with it, and it's not like a huge deal or anything like that. Like, I've always said, song structure and arrangement over a good riff. I mean, not saying like purposely put bad riffs. What I'm getting at is like you could have a song that has an amazing riff, but if you don't implement it correctly, the song is not going to automatically make the song amazing. To some people, it does. I've seen some people defend Saint Anger and be like, "Well, I like this song because this riff's really cool." It's like, okay, that part's cool, I guess, but like, it doesn't have the flow of the whole song. Anyway, yeah. So it's such a minor complaint because the just the general composition of it and all the shit that Cliff wrote for it is just fucking amazing. It's just like it's a very minor complaint. So definitely song structure and all that kind of shit over just yeah. It's side tangent aside. I don't want to go into the full details of why I love each and every one of these songs. I just wanted to go into that, even though I have that quote unquote complaint. It's not a bad riff by any means. It's just like it pales in comparison to literally the rest of the song. But it's good. The song is amazing, but the riff is good. Yeah. This is where people are gonna give me shit for for my opinions on stuff. It took me a while to get to this opinion because I eventually had to like separate it from previous Metallica works to really like judge this on its own merits. And like with the "And Justice for All" song, I also Justice for All songs, I also had to separate it, separate the production as well, because like with "And Justice for All," it nowadays I consider it my favorite album, but I didn't for the longest time just because I hated the production. But when I listened past it, I mean, hell, I'm the guy that defended Death Magnetic. That's like, it's just the production. I mean, it's not just production. There are other issues. But, like, so, like, I had to look back at that, too. It's like, well, I'm kind of doing that to Injustice for All. I put it lower on my list, the album as a whole, because of the production. But it's actually a really good album. It's my favorite album nowadays, but I have to definitely listen past the production. And I cannot listen to, it's very hard for me to listen, definitely with Death Magnetic even more so, but it's very hard for me to listen to the album front to back without being like like without it grating my ears, right? Like I had to take a break or just listen to songs on shuffle on a playlist, right? I know a lot of people love that guitar tone, but I think it can be a little much. It's like a really good bedroom guitar tone, but it's not a really good guitar tone to have in a band, right? It's one of the main reasons actually the bass was turned down so low, because of like the low end on that guitar, right? It's great for, and I think that's the reason guitarists love the tone so much, is because, or maybe not even guitarists, but it's because it's the kind of tone you would love to have if you're just jamming out by yourself, or if you don't have a bassist. Yeah, it's great guitar tone, but they did have a fucking bass. Anyway, yeah. So that's also an issue with this album. As good as it, as good as the production was, my main issue was guitar tones on this album. And the song I put on spot 20 is "Too Far Gone" on 72 Seasons. Now, at first, it wasn't even just the production of the fact of like I thought the guitar tones on this album were very weak. It's also the fact of it. It's just the main riff was very no remorsey. It's that modern Metallica issue of being kind of self rip-offy from time to time, or a lot of the time. So there was that too that made me put it lower on the list. But really, so much of the song is actually really great. If I imagine the guitar tones being beefier, if I put No Remorse out of my head for a second, it's actually a really good song, and I really dig it. It's just like, you know, I don't know, it just. And plus, everything else about the song is really well done. Like the dual guitar harmonies. I think there's a lot of complaints I have about 72 Seasons, and one of the complaints actually stems from one of the things that is great about the album, and that is the dual guitar harmonies. I think they're so great, and so much of the album pales in comparison to it. It's like they clearly show that they still got it. They're just not working as hard as they should. At least in my opinion, you know, they're gonna do what they want to do, and that's cool for them. I don't want to be some backseat, you know, producer or writer. I don't want to be, you know, as much as the fans have given the band their success, they still are gonna do what they want to do for them. Whether or not this was done for them, people could argue a lot of their modern shit since Death Magnetic has been like checking off a list about what they think fans want, you know, because there's been such backlash to when they experiment with like Load and Reload and Saint Anger. I don't know. It's just a little rant about 72 Seasons. I could do a whole second video about that. I did a video before, but I didn't really go into the best. I wasn't in the best state of mind mentally and stuff like that. I mean, hell, I'm not in the best state of mind mentally now, but I'm a lot better than I was then, and I'm a lot more clear about the album. It's been a while since it's been out. And I've seen various opinions, and I've been able to kind of like, yeah, definitely. I have a better understanding of the album. Not completely, because I'm not them, but like, you know, it's interesting to see the different opinions that I've gained over the years. Also, of just these songs. This list I think is pretty interesting. Okay, after Too Far Gone is Call of Cthulhu. I think this is another thing of production. Even before Injustice for All, the bass was too low on these albums. And Cliff is an amazing bassist. I didn't even know the crazy shit he was doing in Call of Cthulhu until you hear it bass boosted or you hear them play it live. And it's like, oh my fucking god, it's the best part about this song is all the crazy shit he's doing, and you can hardly hear it on the album. So I'm not judging it if it was purely on the album version, I would actually have the song lower. But taking the song as it is, like in its entirety and like at its full potential and shit like that, it deserves to be on this list here. And for some people, probably even higher. I'm just saying this list isn't about what musically is the best. It's just about, you know, what I like the best. But like, fuck yeah. But also, this fucking production. It was also made in a different time, so it could have like sounded amazing on whatever it was being played on, and like record players. Well, then again, I have a record player, and it does. I don't know, whatever. Great song though, you know, past my production issues. Number 18 is Battery. It is my second favorite of all the intros to a Metallica album, and honestly, my third favorite. It might be, you know, it's a very underrated song. It's not on this list, but That Was Just Your Life and Death Magnetic, I think, is very, I mean, it's between that and Fight Fire with Fire. But Battery is fucking, I mean, there's not much I can say about it. It's just amazing. Spot 17 would be The Shortest Straw. Just love that shit. Just got a lot of good attitude to it. I'm not saying it's better written musically than the other songs I've had on here, like Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that, but it's just badass. I just love it. Dyer's Eve, just yeah, that's the next song, number 16, Dyer's Eve. Just fuck yeah, just it's just like it's one of the hardest hitting Metallica songs just of all time. Like fuck yeah. And then number 15, my favorite intro in all of Metallica history is Blackened. Just Jason didn't get very many opportunities to compose his own shit, but when he did, I mean, there's a lot I could say about that whole thing. I could go into a video about people's ignorance to what really happened with the band and Jason and shit like that. And yeah, it wasn't great, but people exaggerate shit and all that. It's, side tangent aside, the Blackened is fucking amazing. Spot 14, The Unforgiven, just hits me in the feels. That fucking solo is one of Kirk's greatest solos ever of all time. It is just, and it's not the most technical solo either. I have a whole thing about why technical whatever isn't everything. In fact, a lot of times it could be to a song's detriment just because you want to show off and shit like that. But it's just amazing solo. I think it's one of the best, even if there are other solos where he's doing crazier shit. Number 13 and number 12 were actually difficult for me because they're such different vibes, but I love them both so much. But the way I put it on the list was number 13, which is the only song from Reload, and there's no songs from Load or Saint Anger on this list. But Fuel, I think, is one of the greatest songs ever, even if the album it was on was, fine. And there are actually a lot of underrated songs on the album, but everything on this list I thought was better than even the songs I wanted to defend. So this is the only one that made it on this list. But Fuel is just fuck yeah. But the other spot, 12, it's a very different vibe of song, but it's amazing. And it's just like, it was hard for me to rank them, but this is how I put it. Number 12 is Creeping Death. And as stupid simple as that metal riff is, it's still one of my favorite riffs from Kirk. Yeah, fuck yeah. Unpopular opinions are about to come again right here, because number 11 is I Disappear. Yes, I put it above all those other songs. I just love it. I just love the vibe of it. Yes, Kirk's solo is a little overly simple. I hate when people say it sucks, though. I don't think it sucks. I just think it's, it's repetitive, and it's just kind of like, it doesn't go the places that you would normally expect from a Kirk solo, but I think it's fine, and it doesn't ruin the song. And I don't know, it's and the main riff, I mean, you could technically, I think the main riff would be more but the next part, yeah, it's kind of like my same issue with Orion. It's just the main riff, I mean, if you could call that the main riff, it's fine, but in the context of the song it really works, and I just kind of go with it. And it's such a brief portion of the fucking song. My favorite part of the song is probably the choruses, definitely. I mean, the song as a whole, I just, it's a stupid, simple song, but it's like, fuck yeah. And then the real unpopular opinions are coming right here. Number 10 is the only other 72 Seasons song on this list. Yes, I love Inamorata, but it didn't make it to this list because it's about personal opinion rather than fact. Inamorata is probably the best song on the album, but my personal favorite on the album, which is number 10 on this list, is Lux Eterna. Now, when I first listened to this song, I thought it was okay. I liked the main riff, but I thought it was too repetitive. And I still think that way. But I've grown past it, and now I love it, but I still acknowledge that main riff is a little repetitive. And I don't hate Kirk's solo. I don't love it either, but it doesn't ruin the song for me. But, so that's an issue too, but my main issue still, even if I'm able to listen past it now and put it this fucking high on the list, it is too repetitive of a main riff. And that's all it does over and over again. That works for the chorus section of the song, but when they go back to when it's just the instrumental main riff, it's just kind of like, when they introduced it and it was repeating that, I was like, okay, cool. But then when they jumped in the whole band and just kept doing it, I was like, okay. And like I said, it actually still works for the choruses. So it really only doesn't work for me in certain little portions of the song, but I just listen past it. I get it if you can't. I totally get it. But for me, I'm like, fuck yeah, fucking love the song, even though I acknowledge it can be a little undercooked as far as that goes, and definitely as far as Kirk's solos go, and that's the whole issue with a lot of his modern solos, I think. I could go into my issues about If Darkness Had a Sun and how much better that song could have been, but also that solo should have just been scrapped entirely. If Darkness Had a Sun. But there's a lot of issues I could have with a lot of the solo. Anyway, number 9. Fucking one of the most underrated Metallica songs of all time, Suicide and Redemption. I honestly think this is my favorite instrumental. And it does have a repetitive riff issue in one riff. It's the bam 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 bam. But I think everything else makes up for that, especially since right after that, but yeah, and James's solo, man, so overlooked. I think that's James's best solo he's ever done, ever, of all time. Like, fuck yeah. Just, yeah. And people shit on Kirk's solo for some reason. It pales in comparison to the solo James just did, absolutely, but it's not bad. I don't think it ruins the song or anything like that. I don't know. The song, I think the song is just amazing. And it's just fuck yeah. Number 8, All Nightmare Long. Like, just ever since I was a little kid getting in Metallica, I was like 12 years old when this album came out. Like, it was just like, dude, this song is just rocking. And people apparently shit on Kirk's solo here too. I mean, it's not amazing, but like, I thought his solo was good in it, but that might be just me. And that might be nostalgia talking as far as that goes. But like, I still think the song as a whole is legitimately great. Even if you might not put it as high on the list, I think it's still a great song. Number 7 is the last of the modern era Metallica songs that will be on this list. It's Spit Out the Bone. It's just like, and there are actually a lot of songs I really liked on this album, but they just didn't make it on this list. But Spit Out the Bone, I think it's just, I don't know, it's got that, it was so interesting listening to it for the first time, because when I first listened to the album was before I even bought the album. It was just when the day before the album was technically supposed to release, when they released all those music videos. I was just listening to the whole album. Some of the songs I really liked. Some of the songs, like Atlas Rise, I didn't like so much at first, but it grew on me a little over time. By the time these music videos came out, because it was one of the singles, so it definitely grew on me over time. And, I have various opinions, but, like, this song gripped me, like, pretty much instantly, and I didn't even realize it at the time, because I was just kind of, like, I was zoning out, going through, it was like, oh, Metallica released another one, whatever. Don't want to say that about Metallica, but that's kind of where my head was at when I was starting to listen to some of them, especially since some of them I listened to before that were just like fine and shit like that. But I listened to that one, and it being the last song in the album, it actually was one of the last ones. I don't think it was one of the last ones that was released, but it happened to also be one of the last ones I was listening to of all the music videos, and it was just like, from the beginning I was like, oh shit, like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, I don't know, there's not too much I can say, it's just awesome. Number 6, Sad But True. Just that groove it has, I think, in my opinion, is the best Black Album song. Enter Sandman gets too much shit. It is overplayed, but I still think it's great. Nothing Else Matters, I think, is a beautiful song, but it just didn't make it to this list. Even if it's overplayed as well, it's still, I think, genuinely really great. It's just, metal elitist won't agree with me. But Sad But True is my personal favorite on the album. I think The God That Failed is a very underrated song. It just didn't make it on this list because, like I said, there's just so many other songs I love more, but I still really love The God That Failed. I think it's a very underrated song on that album, and I think Black Album is genuinely a great album, like, fucking metal elitist and fucking shit. Anyway, yeah, Sad But True is just heavy and groovy and, like, fuck yeah. And, it's one of the moments on the Black Album where you could definitely notice the fucking bass. Like, it's pretty much just doubling the guitar, but it adds that extra oomph that main riff. It's just boom, 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 and it's just like, yeah. Also, it irritates me the amount of people on YouTube that play this song that don't do the fucking palm mutes. How the fuck? That's such an important part of the... Anyway, yeah, great song. Top 5 now. Fade to Black. I don't need to say much about that. It's just fucking amazing. Number 4, Master of Puppets. Just, especially with me, with my addiction and shit like that, it definitely speaks to me lyrically more now, but I've always loved it musically as well. Number 3, One. I could be, there are moods even with some of these great songs on this list where I can be like, kind of jamming or whatever, but maybe the mood I'm in, maybe fighting with my enjoyment. But with this song, No matter what mood I'm in, once that comes on, I can't help but fucking hang bang it every time. It's just so well executed the way the song builds up to that point and hits that. I just like it's the one song out of all these that no matter what mood I'm in, I involuntarily start headbanging it. I could be in the shittest of shit mood, and none of the music I'm listening to is like getting me out of that. I'm being stubborn about being a fucking depressed shithead, but then that comes on, and I'm like. But anyway, number 2, even though it's number 2 on my list, I think it is like one of, if not the greatest Metallica songs ever written, and I think it gets overlooked a lot. That's No Leaf Clover. It's just, you know, a lot of it is the orchestra doing a lot of the work, because I've listened to them play the song live without it, and it's good, but it's not like amazing like it was with the orchestra. A lot of the songs were enhanced on that album because of the orchestra, but the original songs were clearly written with the symphony orchestra in mind. And this one shows it's like it's still great without it, but it's good without it. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's greater with it. One day I want to try to do a cover of this where I can make it work without the symphony. I don't know if I could, but you know, I feel like there's a better way they could play it live to try to make it work. It's never gonna work the way it did with the orchestra, but I don't know. Still fucking amazing song. It's just like, and I can't believe how overlooked it is. If you look at the amount of listens it gets, or the amount of views it gets on YouTube and shit like that. I mean, views and listens aren't gonna be everything when it comes to quality. I get it, but like, it's fucking Metallica, so it's crazy that doesn't get nearly the love so many other songs get. And I genuinely think it's one of their best fucking songs. And I guess a big part of it is it wasn't released on a studio album, so people, for some reason, don't look far beyond. I don't know. It's just it gets a lot of love. Don't get me wrong, but I still don't feel like it gets the love it deserves. Number 1, and it's mainly because it's such a great live song that it's catchy, and it's just like it's got this whatever to it. I get it's maybe not the most masterfully written song of theirs, but I personally love it for all my own reasons, and of course nostalgic reasons and shit like that. But number 1 is Seek and Destroy. It's just. Yeah, it's just the energy of it, and mostly the live versions. I still like the studio version, but it always feels like it drags a little bit, the studio version versus the live versions, because they play it slightly faster live. It is a little odd there, and then there's my thing of me personally. Almost always with Metallica songs, actually, I mean, there's purists that will disagree with me, but I personally prefer when they play their E standard songs in E flat. So I think it definitely adds something when they play it live, like these days, with the E flat instead of the standard. I always like. I didn't realize that that's what I love so much about hearing them play it live sometimes, because like I would listen to them, like recordings of them play it live as a kid, and wonder. I mean, beyond just them playing it slightly faster, wonder why I loved it so much more than the studio version and shit like that. And then when I started playing guitar myself, and then I ended up starting fucking around with E flat and ended up starting to prefer that, I'm like, that's why. I just really like that tuning. So that adds a little extra something for me too. Not everyone loves that they play in E flat these days. Even though it's been fucking how many fucking years they've been doing it since like before Load came out. They've been doing it since 1995. It's been 30 years. They've been playing E flat for the most of their fucking career live, But I get it, the glory days with the 80s and the early 90s. So you want to cling on to every aspect of that you can, and not acknowledge that there's maybe some things that they've done better since then. It may not be too many in your eyes, or even my eyes. But there are some things, I could go into a whole thing about, even as much as I hate the Star Wars sequels, there are certain things they did better. It's not many, but like I hate when people paint it with a black and white brush. Like people do with this band all the time. A lot of them say after the fifth album, and a lot of like really hardcore metal elitists will say anything after the fourth album, they'll say like everything's shit. They won't even give anything an inch. That black and white mindset's not going to get you far in life. Like, come on. I mean, I say that, and then you have a dipshit like Kerry King somehow making it as big as he did. That fucking, oh my god, every time he opens his mouth, well, not every time he opens his mouth, but he says a lot of dumb shit. Anyway, rant aside, Seek and Destroy, just fuck yeah, yeah. But that's my ranking. It's quite interesting. Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Because I was surprised that this ended up being my list, but I'm happy with it. Still, Fuel and Creeping Death are the ones that I'm still not 100% on their placement. Like I might even put them as a tie. Honestly, I love both those songs, but for different reasons because they're obviously very different vibe. But like, yeah, that's my list. So, yeah.